Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Sunday morning, the 14th of September. And we're talking about the case of Baby Emmanuel Haro today from California. Not talked about Emmanuel's case for quite a few days now, and there has been a couple of updates. So we're going to get into that. If you saw my surprise video yesterday, you'll know that we've got a new puppy in the house and we've survived the first 24 hours. So I'm going to be live later just for a little while. It will be a members live just so we can talk about the puppy. What I do with members lives is anyone can watch them. You don't even have to be subscribed to be able to watch them while they're live. Only members can chat. And then once the live is over, then it goes to members only, and only members can watch the replay. So if you want to ask some questions about the new puppy and get some updates there, then I'll go live later, maybe just for like half an hour. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this video. All right, so let's just remind ourselves of the backstory in this case. So it's August 17th. Emmanuel, just 7 months old at the time, was reported missing by his mother, Rebecca Haro, who claimed that she arrived at a parking lot outside of a sporting goods store so she could buy her stepson a mouthguard, I think it was, for football. And she claimed that baby Emmanuel needed his diaper changing. She got him out of his seat and started to change his diaper, and somebody from behind managed to punch her in the eye, knock her out. Yeah, I don't know how you punch someone in the eye from behind, but anyway, she didn't get a good look at the person. They knocked her out, and when she woke up, baby Emmanuel was gone. However, the cops didn't believe that story at all. They were arrested. They're in jail now. They've both pled not guilty to the charges that they've been set, so it'll all play out in the courts. But the cops believe that baby Emmanuel is dead and he's been murdered by his parents. And he could have died as early as August the 5th, so well before August 17th. What possessed Rebecca to call the cops and make up this elaborate ruse on August 17th? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. However, baby Emmanuel's body has still not been found. Lots of people been out looking. There was reports of him being put in trash and being at a landfill, but none of that seems to have panned out. Now, there's a couple of things that have come out about Jake Haro's past, Jake being Emmanuel's dad. The big deal was that he should have been in prison for years based on what he did to one of his older children, who is now 7. But at the age of 10 weeks, he battered this girl so badly that she is now permanently disabled. And the Riverside County District Attorney, at the press conference that they gave, he was furious at the judge for allowing Jake Haro to serve a minute sentence of just 6 months, but only 1 day in jail, all on day release, suspended sentence. But a couple of days ago on their social media, the Riverside County DA did make a statement to the media about misinformation. Now, I thought what the DA said at the press conference was clear, but there is a little bit more to this, so let's read this. There has been a significant amount of misinformation circulating regarding the handling of the prior criminal case against Jake Haro. As the District Attorney's Office, we have conducted a thorough internal review of how this case was managed, and we wish to clarify several critical points to ensure the public receives an accurate understanding of the facts. It's important to recognise that our office believed the charges could have been more severe based on the nature and extent of the victim's injuries. I think they could have done him for attempted murder. The injuries were so severe. However, had the case gone to a preliminary hearing, it is highly likely that we would have sought amendments to increase the charges. However, Mr. Haro pled guilty prior to that stage, and the final plea was presented to and accepted by the court, i.e. the judge. So he pled guilty straight away. He'd been charged with some lesser offences like related to child cruelty, but this child is now 7 and she can't walk, talk, she's blind, she can't swallow. She is in a permanently very precarious position for the rest of her life from 10 weeks old, and it's just horrible. But because he was charged low initially and then he pled guilty on those charges, then it just all went to the judge, and the judge passed this pitifully lenient sentence. Prior to any plea to the court in the previous case, we strongly objected to the proposed sentence, a probationary term with 180 days in a work release programme, with the prison sentence suspended. We made this objection in open court and on the record. Our objection was made based on the seriousness of the injuries Mr. Haro inflicted on his then 10-week-old daughter. When the court chose to deviate from the people's insistence that Mr. Haro deserved prison time for his actions, it was, i.e. the judge, was acutely aware of the heinous and permanent nature of this young victim's injuries. The availability of more serious charges does not change what the facts dictated the appropriate punishment should be. So the availability of more serious charges doesn't change the facts of what the punishment should be. So I guess what the DA is getting at here is accusations of the charge being very light, like charging him with a lesser sentence and just giving him the opportunity to plead guilty to a lesser sentence of child cruelty. So if that's what people are saying, I can understand why the DA wants to clarify that. The fact remains that it was the judge that chose to give Jake Haro such a light sentence. Basically let him off with it, almost. I mean, 6 months in a work release programme is nothing, is it? Compared with the permanent disability that his daughter is in. No one has denied that the court had the discretion to make the decision to grant Mr. Haro probation. We believe that granting Mr. Haro probation under these circumstances on these facts was an inappropriate use of that discretion, and that was the basis of our objection. Our office's primary focus remains providing justice for baby Emmanuel. It is essential that we do not lose sight of who is truly responsible for the loss of life at issue in this case, and focus our time and energy on ensuring justice for baby Emmanuel. Now, I don't think many people have got anything nice to say about Jake and Rebecca. Well, there has been some stuff about Jake's past that has come out that perhaps, maybe, possibly can explain why he is such a rotter. And when I say can explain, in part explain, I don't mean excuse. I mean explain why this entire family is completely dysfunctional. And I'd like to know more about Rebecca's family as well, because I would imagine that there's just as much dysfunction on her side of the family as well. But anyway, this is from News Nation. So Jake Haro, the father of missing baby Emmanuel, was separated from his parents while in his youth. Jake Haro was ordered to attend a child abuse programme as part of a suspended sentence for a separate child abuse case in 2018, which left his then 10-week-old daughter, not 10-month-old daughter, permanently disabled, as we know. So, criminal defence attorney Alexandria Kazarian joined Banfield on Monday to discuss how Jake Haro was removed from his own parents. So, he was removed from his own parents when he was young due to drug and domestic violence issues in the family home. So, this guest says, it sounds like this is a long time cycle of abuse that's happening in this family. There are allegations that his grandfather was mentally ill and that his mother had addiction problems, and she left him at home not only with his grandfather, who wasn't fit to watch over him, but there was also domestic violence issues between his mother and his father. According to Kazarian, by age 13, Jake Haro was taken away from his parents, along with his sister and brother, and placed in an adoptive family. Jake Haro allegedly violated his parole in 2024 and was briefly locked up before being let go after posting bail. At the time, Emmanuel, who went missing, had not yet been born. So there was multiple occasions to keep Jake away from the public, not allow him to have any more children. Because he went on to have 2 more children after he'd permanently disabled his then 10-week-old daughter. But I'd like to know more. As an ex-psychologist, I'm interested in the mind of these people. But, you know, the cycle of trauma and the cycle of violence, it's very well known in psychology. And this is the way this family has played out. Multiple generations of dysfunction. And here we are. So, let me know your thoughts about this horrible case in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video. You may have been hearing the puppy whining a little bit. She's in her pen downstairs. I'm going to go and see what she's up to now. All right. I'll be back later for a little catch up. Bye, guys.